My mother-in-law tried to steal every man I loved. I finally exposed her. On a Sunday night, my husband's phone lit up with a message from his mom that said, "If she can't appreciate you, I will." I didn't confront her. I didn't even mention it. I stayed silent, called a lawyer for advice, and started saving receipts because I knew she'd call it a misunderstanding later. My name is Hannah. I'm 34, and I'm from Nashville. I grew up around people who believe family is everything, and conflict is a failure of character. So for most of my adult life, I tried to be easy to be around. That worked with friends. It did not work with my mother-in-law. My husband, Cole, is 36. We've been married 6 years, together almost 9. Cole is steady, quiet, the kind of man who thinks problems can be solved with patience and a polite conversation. His mom, Diane, is 61, and she has a different philosophy. Diane believes every relationship is a ranking system. She doesn't say it that way, but she lives it that way. The first year I dated Cole, Diane treated me like a temporary guest. She would hug me, smile, and then say things like, "Well, we'll see if you stick around." She called it teasing. When we got engaged, she upgraded from teasing to concern. She'd pull Cole aside and ask if he was sure I was the right woman. Then she'd act surprised when I heard about it, like she didn't expect information to travel inside a marriage. I told myself it was typical mother-in-law stuff. I told myself I was being sensitive. I told myself if I stayed kind long enough, she'd relax. Then, one Sunday night, I saw a message that made everything click. Cole was in the shower. His phone was on the kitchen counter. It buzzed once, then again. I wasn't touching it. I wasn't snooping. I just saw the preview flash across the screen. Poor Cole. You do everything and she still complains. If she can't appreciate you, I will. I felt my stomach go cold, but my face stayed calm. Not because I was okay, because I knew exactly what Diane would say if I reacted. She's jealous. She's dramatic. She can't take a joke. So I didn't say anything. I took a breath, and I did the one thing I wish I'd done years earlier. I started a folder in my phone called Receipts. I took a photo of the message preview with my own phone, so the time and date were visible. Then I put Cole's phone back exactly where it was. If you were me, would you have confronted her right then? I wanted to. But I'd learned that Diane didn't respond to emotion. She responded to leverage. When Cole came out of the shower, he was relaxed, towel around his waist, talking about the Titans game like nothing was wrong. I watched him for a moment and felt something heavy settle in my chest. I said casually, "Your mom texted you tonight." Cole nodded. "Yeah, she does that. She checks in." "What about?" I asked. "Nothing," he said. "Just stuff." Stuff. That was new. Cole doesn't normally say stuff. He normally says exactly what someone said, even if it's awkward. I smiled and said, "Okay." Later, after he fell asleep, I did something else quiet. I pulled up Diane's previous texts to me and Cole in our family group chat. I looked for a pattern I'd always felt but never documented. And there it was. Diane praised Cole in public, constantly. Diane corrected me in public, constantly. And the compliments were always slightly pointed, like they were meant to define who mattered most. Cole is the only one who knows how to do things right. Cole always shows up for me. Cole is such a good son, it's rare these days. It sounds harmless until you realize the subtext is always the same. I raised him. You didn't. He belongs to me. 2 days later, Diane invited Cole to lunch. Alone. Not a family lunch. Not a holiday dinner. Just lunch. Cole told me at breakfast, like it was normal. "Mom wants to grab lunch Wednesday," he said. "Just you two?" I asked. "Yeah," he said. "She says she misses me." I kept my voice soft. "She can miss you with me present too." Cole frowned. "Hannah, she's my mom. She's just intense." Intense? That word is how families excuse behavior they don't want to confront. I said, "Okay, go, but tell me after what she says." Cole nodded. "Of course." Wednesday night, he came home quieter than usual. He kissed my forehead, then went to wash his hands, like he needed a reset. I asked, "How was lunch?" Cole hesitated, then said, "She's worried about us." My stomach tightened. Worried about what? Cole leaned against the counter and rubbed his face. "She thinks you don't respect me." I stared at him. "She said that." Cole nodded, uncomfortable. I said, "Calm. Cole, your mom is not in our marriage." Cole exhaled. "She just loves me. I didn't argue. I just asked, did she say anything else? He looked down. She said, you have a temper. That you might snap one day. I went still. Because Diane had never seen me snap. She had only seen me set small boundaries. So now, she was escalating the story. Not, Hannah is difficult, but Hannah is dangerous. That's not a misunderstanding. That's a strategy. I didn't sleep much that night. Not because I wanted revenge. Because I realized Diane wasn't trying to annoy me. She was trying to replace me as the emotional center of Cole's life. And she wasn't even hiding it anymore. The next morning, I did something boring and adult. I called a lawyer, not to file anything, just to ask what documentation mattered if family drama turned into something bigger. Miss Rivera listened and said, don't confront her in ways she can twist. Keep communication in writing, and if you share finances or property, make sure everything is locked down. I hung up feeling calmer and also sadder, because I'd crossed a line in my mind. This wasn't just about being liked. This was about safety, stability, and the story people could tell about me. That afternoon, I got a friend request on Facebook. From my ex, Matt. I hadn't talked to Matt in almost 8 years. The message request said, hey, random. Your mother-in-law told me to reach out. Are you okay? My hands went cold. Because I had never mentioned Matt to Diane. Not once. So how did she find him? And why now? I didn't reply to Matt right away. I stared at the message for a full minute, trying to keep my breathing steady. Then I did what I've learned to do when something feels unreal. I verified facts. I checked Diane's friends list. I checked Ron's friends list. I checked pages. Somewhere in that family, Matt was connected. Then I remembered something small and sickening. Diane loved research. She'd brag about it like it was a talent. Oh, I looked her up. She seems nice. I found your friend's mom online. She's adorable. I'd just like to know who people are. I used to laugh. Now I didn't. I replied to Matt with one sentence, calm and neutral. Hi, Matt. I'm fine. What exactly did she tell you? Matt answered quickly. She said she was worried about you. She said you were isolating Cole and that you don't handle stress well. She asked if you'd ever been like that when we dated. I felt my stomach drop. Diane wasn't just crossing boundaries. She was building a character profile about me, using men from my past as witnesses. If you were me, would you go nuclear? I wanted to. But I kept hearing Miss Rivera's words. Writing, documentation, calm. I wrote back to Matt. Thank you for telling me. I'm not in crisis, and I'm not isolating anyone. Please don't engage with her about my marriage. Matt replied, I won't. This felt weird, honestly. I screenshot the entire conversation and saved it in receipts. Then, I told Cole. Not emotionally. Not as a dramatic reveal. I waited until dinner was done and the kitchen was quiet. Then I slid my phone across the table. Cole read the messages, his face changing line by line. What the hell? He said quietly. I nodded. That's what I'm saying. Cole looked up. How did she even find Matt? I don't know, I said. But the bigger question is why she contacted him at all. Cole rubbed his jaw. I'm going to call her. I raised a hand, gentle but firm. Not tonight. If you call her angry, she'll cry. Then we'll be the villains. We need a plan. Cole looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't. He asked, what plan? I said, we set boundaries in writing. One message, calm, clear, no accusations. Cole exhaled. Okay. So we drafted a text together and Cole sent it to Diane. Mom, please don't contact people from Hannah's past. It's inappropriate. If you have concerns about our marriage, talk to me directly and respectfully. Diane replied within 2 minutes. Oh my gosh, I was just trying to help. Hannah always misunderstands me. I'm the bad guy again. Cole stared at it. She didn't deny it. No, I said. She didn't. Then Diane sent a second message. Also, tell Hannah to stop reading your phone. That's controlling. Cole looked at me, confused. You didn't read my phone. I didn't, I said. She's trying to make me look unstable. Again. That night, Diane posted a vague quote on Facebook. Sometimes the woman who marries your son forgets she's not his mother. It had a smiling emoji, like it was cute. I didn't comment. I didn't react publicly. I saved a screenshot. Receipts. The next day, Cole went to work and I stayed home. I work remote in event planning, so my office is our spare room. I tried to focus, but my phone kept buzzing with messages from Paige, my sister-in-law. Paige. Mom is so upset. Paige. Why are you doing this right before the family reunion? Paige. She was just checking on you. Checking on me. No. She was recruiting. I replied once. Paige, your mom contacted my ex to discuss me. That's not normal. We're setting boundaries. Paige didn't respond for an hour. Then she wrote, okay, but you have to admit you're kind of intense too. I stared at the screen and felt something in me go quiet. That's how Diane wins. She makes the whole family speak her language. I didn't argue with Paige. I just saved it. Mini cliffhanger moments started stacking up fast. That evening, Cole got home and said, Mom invited us to dinner Saturday. I blinked. Dinner. Cole nodded. She says she wants to apologize. I didn't trust that. Apologies from Diane usually came with an audience and a twist. I asked, at her house? Yes, Cole said. Whole family. Of course. I said, I'll go if we keep it short and leave the second she turns it into a performance. Cole nodded. Saturday came. Diane's house was spotless in a way that feels aggressive. Candles lit, charcuterie board, nice napkins. Her version of peace always had staging. She hugged Cole too long, then hugged me like she was checking a box. At the table, she smiled and said, I want to clear the air. Cole said, calm, great. Diane looked at me. Hannah, I'm sorry you felt uncomfortable. That wasn't an apology. That was, sorry you felt. Then she added, I just worry, because Cole has a type. He likes strong women. Sometimes strong women don't know when to stop. I felt my cheeks heat, but my voice stayed even. Diane, I said, you contacted someone from my past. That is not appropriate. Diane widened her eyes like she was offended by the word appropriate. I just wanted to know if you were okay, she said. It's what women do. We protect the men we love. There it was. Not my son. The men we love. Like it was a club, and I was intruding. Cole said, Mom, stop. Diane laughed softly. Cole, I'm not attacking your wife. She's just sensitive. I looked at Cole. He looked tired. If you were in that room, what would you do? Walk out. Stay. Fight. Smile. I chose the one thing Diane couldn't handle. I asked a simple question. Diane, why did you tell Matt I isolate Cole? The table went quiet. Pay's fork stopped midair. Diane's smile flickered. Then she said, because I'm afraid, Hannah. You keep him from me. Cole stood up. We're leaving, he said. Diane's face tightened. You're choosing her over your mother. Cole replied, calm but firm. I'm choosing my marriage over manipulation. We left. In the car, Cole didn't speak for 2 minutes. Then he said, I'm sorry. I stared out the window. I don't want sorry. I want safety. That night, Diane sent Cole a voicemail. Crying. Dramatic. Soft voice. I just don't recognize you anymore. She's changing you. I know you, baby. I know when you're not happy. I saved it. Receipts. Then, at 1:17 a.m., I received an email from an address I didn't recognize. Subject: for your own good. Inside was one line. Ask your husband why his mother has your ex's number. He sat up in bed, because that email didn't come from Diane, which meant someone else was now involved. The anonymous email didn't scare me the way it would have a few years earlier. It clarified something. Diane wasn't alone in the story anymore. Either Paige was feeding her, or someone else in the family was stirring the pot, or Diane was using a fake account to create drama and then blame me for it. I didn't respond to the email. I forwarded it to myself and saved it. Then I did the next boring adult step. I changed passwords. Not because I thought someone was hacking our bank accounts. Because I didn't trust the boundaries around my name, my reputation, or my privacy. Cole noticed me doing it and asked, "Are we okay?" I said, "We will be. But we're going to stop treating your mom like a quirky personality. She's escalating." Cole nodded, jaw tight. I know. The next weekend was the family reunion. Not a huge one, but big enough. A rented pavilion, catered barbecue, family photos. We weren't going to go. Cole was ready to skip it. But I knew how Diane would use our absence. She's isolating him. She's controlling. She's unstable. So I told Cole, We go. We stay 1 hour. We bring receipts energy, not anger. Cole smiled for the first time in days. Receipts energy. We arrived at the pavilion and immediately felt it. Diane was hosting like she was running a campaign. She hugged people, took photos, made announcements. When she saw Cole, she lit up like a stage spotlight turned on. "There's my boy," she said loudly. Then she looked at me and smiled like we'd never fought. "Hannah," she said, "I'm so glad you came." That was the thing about Diane. She didn't want resolution. She wanted the photo. We did small talk. We kept it polite. Then I saw a man near the drinks table. Tall, familiar posture, older haircut now. Matt. My ex. My stomach dropped so hard it felt like missing a step on stairs. Cole noticed my face. "What?" I kept my voice low. "That's Matt." Cole turned and went still. "What is he doing here?" Cole asked. I didn't answer. Because I already knew. Diane had invited him. Mini cliffhanger. A person doesn't invite your ex to a family event by accident. That's not a social mistake. That's an ambush. Matt looked uncomfortable, like he wanted to leave but didn't know how. I walked toward him calmly, Cole beside me. "Matt," I said softly. "Why are you here?" Matt blinked. "Your mother-in-law invited me." Cole's voice was tight. "Why would you accept?" Matt swallowed. "She told me you were going through something. She said you asked her to reach out." My stomach turned. I said, "I did not." Matt looked embarrassed. "Yeah, I'm realizing that." Then Diane appeared like she'd been waiting for this scene. "Oh, look," she said, bright voice. "You two know each other. Small world." Cole said coldly, "Mom, why is Matt here?" Diane widened her eyes. "Don't be dramatic." Cole repeated, "Why?" Diane sighed like she was exhausted by our intelligence. "Because," she said, "I wanted to remind Hannah that good men exist, men who don't keep secrets." I stared at her. Because she was implying Cole kept secrets. She was building another narrative, right there in public. If you were me, would you scream? Would you expose everything on the spot? I didn't. I did something calmer. I took out my phone and started recording audio, not faces, just my own voice stating the date and place. Family reunion. Pavilion. Diane is explaining why she invited Matt. I said quietly. Diane's smile dropped instantly. She hissed, "Are you serious?" Cole said, "Yes, we're serious." Diane turned to the family nearby and said loudly, "See, this is what I mean. She's unstable." I didn't respond to that word. I looked at Matt and said, "You were misled. I'm sorry you got pulled into this." Matt nodded quickly. "Yeah, I'm leaving." He walked away. Diane watched him go, face tight. Then she leaned toward me and whispered, "You just embarrassed yourself." I smiled slightly. "No, I documented you." Diane walked away like she needed a reset. For the next 30 minutes, Diane acted like nothing happened. She posted photos. She served cake. She joked with cousins. But I noticed something. She kept pulling Cole aside. Every time, he stepped back and came to stand near me again. That was the first real shift. Not a speech. A behavior. On the way home, Cole said, "She wanted you to explode." I nodded. "I know." Then he said, "I think she's been doing this my whole life. I just didn't see it because it always felt like love." That sentence made me feel both sad and relieved. Because if Cole could see it, we could finally solve it like adults. That night, we made a plan. All communication with Diane goes through text or email. No more solo lunches. She is not invited to our home for a while. If she lies to third parties about us, we correct it with proof once, then stop engaging. We sent a short message. Cole texted Diane, "Do not contact Hannah's ex again. Do not invite him to events. Do not discuss our marriage with outsiders. If you do, we will take space." Diane replied, "I'm sorry you think I'm the enemy. Not sorry for actions. Sorry we noticed." Then she sent a second message. "Hannah has always been jealous of me. She wants to take you away." Cole didn't reply, and Diane didn't like that. At 11:08 p.m., Diane emailed Cole a long letter. It was emotional, dramatic, lots of, "After all I've done." Then, near the bottom, one line stood out. "I know what men like. I know how to keep them." I stared at that sentence. Because it wasn't maternal. It was competitive. I saved it. Receipts. 2 days later, Paige called me, voice shaky. "Hannah," she said. Mom is saying you threatened her. I asked, what exactly is she saying? Paige hesitated. She says you said you'd ruin her if she didn't stop. I exhaled. Paige. I have audio from the reunion. I have texts. I have emails. I never said that. Paige went quiet. Then she whispered, can you send me the proof? I said, yes. And I realized something important. This wasn't just about exposing Diane. This was about waking up the people she used as her audience. Because Diane's power depended on secrecy and confusion. Receipts remove both. Paige came over the next day. Not with attitude. With exhaustion. She sat at my kitchen table and said, I don't know what's real anymore. I believed her. Because when you grow up with someone like Diane, you learn to doubt your own instincts. I opened my phone and showed Paige the timeline. The text. If she can't appreciate you, I will. The message to Matt. The reunion audio note. The email line. I know how to keep them. Paige's face went pale. That's not normal. Cole walked in from work and sat beside me. Paige whispered, Mom is going to lose it when she realizes you have all this. Cole said, she already lost it. She just hides it until she has an audience. Paige nodded slowly. What do you want to do? I said, we want to end the narrative. Calmly. So, we asked Ron, Cole's dad, to meet. And we asked Diane too. Diane agreed immediately. That's how you know she thought she could win. We met at Ron and Diane's house on a Thursday evening. When we arrived, Diane had snacks out, like it was a social event. She smiled too wide. Look at us, having a family talk. I love that. Cole didn't sit down right away. He said, Mom, we're here for one reason. Stop involving outsiders in our marriage. Diane blinked. I haven't. Cole said, you invited Matt to the reunion. Diane laughed lightly. He showed up. I didn't invite him. Cole looked at me. I nodded. Then I played the audio clip from the reunion, the moment Diane said why Matt was there. Her voice on my phone said, I wanted to remind Hannah that good men exist. Diane went still. Ron's head turned toward her slowly, like he couldn't believe what he was hearing. Diane snapped. You recorded me. Cole said, answer the content. Diane's face hardened. I was joking. Ron said, low voice, Diane, that's not a joke. Diane looked at Ron like he'd betrayed her. Then she turned to Paige and said, tell them, she's been poisoning him. Paige didn't respond. And that silence was louder than any argument. If you've ever dealt with a manipulator, you know the moment they realize the room isn't theirs anymore. They pivot. Diane started crying. Not soft crying. Strategic crying. I'm just a mother, she sobbed. I'm losing my son. Cole stayed calm. You're not losing me. You're losing control. Diane stopped crying instantly. That switch gave me chills every time. She said, Cold, you think you're so smart. I replied calm. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm trying to be safe. Diane scoffed. Safe from what, Hannah? From a mother who loves her son. Cole said, safe from you trying to compete with my wife. Diane's mouth opened like she couldn't believe he'd said it out loud. Then she did what she always did. She attacked my character. She's insecure, Diane said, pointing at me. She wants all the attention. She's always been like that. Cole looked at her. You don't know her. You don't ask. You just decide. Ron finally spoke, voice heavy. Diane, he said, why did you contact Matt? Diane's eyes flicked. Because I was worried. Ron said, worried about what? Diane hesitated. Then she said, because Hannah is unpredictable. Cole leaned forward. Mom, you've been calling her unstable for months. What is your goal? Diane smiled thin. My goal is to protect you. Cole said, from what? Diane didn't answer. So I did. I pulled out my phone and opened one more folder in receipts. The anonymous email. For your own good. The timing matched the day after we set boundaries. I said, calm. Diane, did you send this email? Diane laughed. No. Cole asked, then who did? Diane shrugged. Maybe Matt. Maybe Hannah. Maybe one of your friends. Who knows? That shrug was the whole point. Confusion is her home field. So I showed the email metadata Miss Rivera helped me request from my email provider. Not full technical jargon, just the basics. It had been sent from a device that had logged into Diane's home Wi-Fi network. Ron's face tightened. Diane. Diane stared at him. That proves nothing. Paige finally spoke, voice quiet. Mom, stop. Diane turned on Paige instantly. Don't you start. You never understood anything. Paige flinched but stayed steady. No, I understood. I just didn't want to see it. The room went quiet. Then Diane did the last move. She turned to Cole and said softly, If you choose her, you're dead to me. Cole stood up. Okay, he said calmly. Then I choose my marriage. Diane gasped like he'd hit her. Ron whispered, Diane. Cole looked at his dad. I love you, but I'm done participating in this. Then he looked at me. Let's go. We walked out. Not running. Not slamming doors. Just leaving. In the car, Cole's hand shook slightly on the steering wheel. He said, I didn't know she could be like that. I said, You knew. You just didn't have proof yet. That weekend, Diane started messaging extended family. She tried to get ahead of the story. But this time, I didn't argue. I sent one calm message to 3 key relatives with 1 screenshot and 1 sentence. This is why we are taking space. Please respect it. No insults. No long explanation. Just evidence. And because people finally had something solid, Diane's vague story didn't land the way it used to. Then Diane tried a new angle. She showed up at our house. She stood on the porch and rang the doorbell 3 times. I didn't open it. I spoke through the door, calm. Diane, please leave. We will communicate in writing. She shouted, Open the door. Don't be childish. I didn't respond. Cole called Ron and said, Get her. Ron arrived, quietly guided her away. And before she got into the car, Diane looked at me and said, You think you won. I didn't answer. Because it wasn't a game. But I knew something. This wasn't over yet. People like Diane don't stop when they lose attention. They stop when they lose access. For the next month, we went low contact. Not a dramatic announcement. Just structure. No surprise visits. No phone calls. Text only. Diane hated it. She sent long messages to Cole like, I'm your mother. I deserve respect. She's manipulating you. You'll regret this. Cole didn't respond emotionally. He responded once, calm. We will speak again when you can respect Hannah and stop contacting outsiders about our marriage. Diane responded with 1 line. Then you'll never speak to me again. Cole didn't reply. And something quiet happened in our house. Peace. Not perfect peace, but the kind where you can hear your own thoughts again. Then, 2 months later, I got a message from Matt. Short. Hey, just a heads up. Diane is messaging my current girlfriend now. My stomach dropped. So, Diane hadn't stopped. She just shifted targets. If you were me, would you blast her publicly at that point? I thought about it. But I didn't want drama. I wanted results. So, I did the thing that actually works with people like Diane. I removed her audience. Cole and I wrote a calm email to the extended family. Not a rant. Not a takedown. Just a boundary notice. We're taking space from Diane due to repeated boundary violations, including contacting outsiders about our marriage. We won't discuss details, but we ask you not to relay messages or mediate. We hope for healing in time. Then we included 1 screenshot. The one that started it all. If she can't appreciate you, I will. That 1 line did something Diane couldn't survive. It made it undeniable that this was not motherly concern. It was competition. Within days, family members stopped engaging with Diane's poor me posts. Not all, but enough. Paige texted me privately. I'm sorry, I thought you were being dramatic. I see it now. I replied, Thank you. And I meant it. Because here's the truth. When you expose a manipulator, you don't need everyone to believe you. You just need the right people to stop feeding the lie. Then we got the final twist. Ron called Cole one evening, voice tight. Diane is saying you abandoned her, Ron said. She's also telling people you have a temper problem. She's implying you're unsafe. Cole went quiet. I felt my stomach tighten. Because that wasn't just gossip. That was reputation sabotage. Cole said, calm, Dad, that's a lie. Ron sighed. I know. Cole asked, Then what are you going to do? Ron hesitated. I'm going to correct it. That was the win. Not humiliation. Not revenge. A man who had lived beside Diane for decades finally refusing to protect the narrative. Ron corrected it at a family dinner. Simple sentence. Hannah has never been unsafe. Diane is angry because boundaries were set. Diane reportedly left the table. And after that, her concern story didn't work as well. Now, the title says, I finally exposed her. Here's what the exposure actually was. It wasn't a viral post. It wasn't screaming. It was a pattern file. Texts, emails, one audio clip, one screenshot, and a calm boundary letter. Because Diane's power came from confusion, not strength. Once the confusion was gone, all she had left was noise. Cole and I went to couples counseling, not because we were broken, but because we needed tools. Tools to keep Diane from moving into the cracks. We learned a simple rule. No triangulation. If Diane wants something, she asks Cole. If she tries to pull me in, I redirect. If she tries to recruit other relatives, we don't chase. We hold boundaries. And over time, Diane did what people like her do when the room stops clapping. She found a new stage. Not our stage. Last update. About a year later, Diane sent a short email. No insults, no guilt. I'm sorry for what I said. I was afraid of losing Cole. It wasn't perfect, but it was the first time she admitted fear instead of pretending it was love. Cole replied, calm. Thank you. We can talk about rebuilding slowly, with clear boundaries. We did not go back to normal. Because normal was the problem. But we did reach something that felt real. Distance with respect. And for me, the biggest payoff wasn't Diane being exposed. It was me no longer living with that constant pressure to prove I deserved my own husband. Because I did. And I didn't need Diane's approval to know it. One last thing I want to say, because it matters. If you are dealing with someone who tries to steal every relationship by becoming the center of it, don't fight them with emotion. Fight them with structure. Paper trails. Boundaries. Calm repetition. Because people who rewrite reality hate documentation. And once the story is documented, it gets very hard to steal. One last thing. If you've ever felt like you were competing with an in-law for your own relationship, please hear me. Love is not a competition, and boundaries are not disrespect. If you like calm, documentary-style stories with receipts and a clear payoff, subscribe. I post long-form stories like this regularly, and the next one starts with a helpful message that looks harmless, until you notice who it was really meant to isolate.